I'm Marv Harrison, your host on this edition of the Adventures Travel Club television show. We're going to take you to the village tonight of Oberammergau. Now, we've been talking about this particular village in Germany for a few weeks, and the reason we've been doing that is because on our trip in May of next year to the Alpine countries of Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, one of the highlights, and just one of the highlights, will be a day in Oberammergau at the Passion Play, which is presented every 10 years. And this play next year will be the last time that it will be seen in this century. The reason that we are speaking about this so frequently at this particular time of the year is that the tickets for the Passion Play will all be gone as of August of this year. And so if you are thinking about going, we'd like to have your reservations so that we can hold a space for you and also reserve those particular tickets for the Passion Play. Oberammergau is a little more than a village. I thought it was just a village when we went to visit it earlier this year, but it still is a beautiful alpine village, a little bit bigger than what I had thought that a village would be. And it has a lot of amenities, not only in the village itself, but also in the surrounding environs as well. And so on this edition of the Travel Club, we're going to show you a couple of seasons in the village of Oberammergau.
Slopes. Wow! What they're doing is not exactly child's play, but it is very popular among the young men in the area. For them, trick skiing is the ultimate, and the Germans are among the best in the world. You can also enjoy this winter paradise in a quieter way. When you've regained your energy after sunbathing, you can try perhaps a sled and ride down into a most picturesque valley, the Graswangtal. Here you have a rendezvous with different kinds of deer, all coming to the feeding places. According to local residents, the red stag is still the king of the Ammer Mountains, and wild deer also still roam the meadowlands. Still out of sight for us are the buck deer, who climb through the rugged mountain heights, as well as the snow rabbits and woodchucks, which are still part of the local wildlife. These are the weeks before Christmas and New Year's, a time of plentiful, traditional celebration. A charming little Christmas market surrounds the church. St. Nicholas is here too, and the profits will go to a good cause. New Year's Eve. As the old year is rung out, singers gather together and walk through the town. At all important locations, songs can be heard which have been passed down since the Middle Ages. This caroling in Oberammergau is a special local custom, different from the usual Epiphany singing in Bavaria. Tired, but elated over their experiences during the night, they gather together in one of the traditional gasthouses, which are especially cozy during the winter. There you'll find not only food and drink, but also folk music, which is still appreciated by old and young. Now, March has come, giving a glimpse of spring. It's the time of change, when the day becomes noticeably longer and the sun stronger, making possible pictures of unforgettable magic. This waiting for spring, this anticipation of its arrival, is an incomparably beautiful time every year. And then spring is here, in all its glory, which we experience anew as if it were a miracle. It's a thrill to see each blossom, every bird which accompanies us through this season of hope. Spring is a special season in every life, a time for growing. All the guests now due to arrive will be greeted by a special reception committee. The garden elf is still around. Welcome to Oberammergau. For anyone who loves flowers, every walk outdoors is a unique experience. In the meadows and on the mountain slopes surrounding Oberammergau, we discover a luxurious splendor of blossoms. But please, let everyone else enjoy this beautiful sight. Don't pick yourself a bouquet. Besides, everyone who spends their leisure time here should know that it's against the law to touch any mountain plants. Oberammergau is part of the Werdenfels district, not far from Garmisch-Partenkirchen. It is in the famous Pfaffenwinkel, an extended triangle between Ettal Monastery, Rothenbuch, and Steingaden. Today, Oberammergau has nearly 5,000 residents. The front of this house, artistically decorated like many other buildings in town, reminds one of a very famous son of the community. He's Ludwig Thoma, known simply as the Bavarian storyteller, which doesn't mean that the popularity of his works stops at the borders of his native land. The author of Lausbubengeschichten and Erste Klasse was born in this house on January 21st, 1867. village church is in the background, but you shouldn't pass it by, since a famous art historian called it admiringly a crown jewel among country parish churches. The fresco in the cupola shows the glorification of the church's patron saints, Peter and Paul, whose sculptures also embellish the high altar. The imposing painting in the cupola by the great Baroque painter Michael Günther shows their martyr's death and their glorious ascension into heaven. The painting of St. Anne with the Holy Family on this side altar is also the work of Günther. The builder of the church was Josef Schmutzer, the last of the great church builders from Wessobrunn, who were also responsible for the churches in Donauwörth, Garmisch, Mittenwald, and Partenkirchen. A famous German novel is called The Great Lord Woodcutter of Ammergau. And indeed, this craft has always been associated with the town. The first mention of wood carving in Oberammergau goes back to the late Gothic period. But the tradition remains as vital as ever, with about 500 woodcarvers and sculptors earning their living through the centuries-old Oberammergau profession of skilled crafts. Yes, there's even a state vocational school for woodcarvers here. Over the years, other kinds of skilled craftsmen have also found a home here. So wood carvings, ceramics, and paintings have become artistic remembrances of a vacation in Oberammergau. The artistic talents of the people of Oberammergau find a natural outlet in painting. This form of the creative arts is prevalent here, as in other towns of the Alpine region, in a special medium, as facade painting of houses, such as we've already seen at the Thoma House. The Bavarians call these facade decorations Lüftelmalerei, but very few people know where this term for the striking art form comes from. It has to do with Oberammergau directly, because the first famous facade painter was Franz Seraph Zwink. He lived back then in the so-called Lüftelhaus, so they called him the Lüftelmaler, or Lüftel painter. Besides, he was constantly up in his scaffolding, in the air, or in der Luft, as the Germans say. Later, this term was applied to all other facade decorators, and sometimes elaborate explanations were invented to explain its origin. But now you know that it's really quite simple. A special breed of man and woman lives in Oberammergau, whose ethnic heritage bears the stamp of three races: the Bavarians, the Tyroleans, and the Swabians. It's a unique mixture reflected in the local dialect. The citizens of the town are by no means strict traditionalists, but their partiality for the time-honored way is still unmistakable. Their inborn piety and the care for old costumes are inalienable parts of daily life, in no way put on for tourists looking for local folklore. We're welcome to watch, but even without onlookers on the side of the road, these processions would inevitably make their way through town.
Jetzt in der Stunde unseres Todes. Amen. Seist du, Maria, voll der Gnade, der Herr ist in dir. Du bist gebenedeit unter den Frauen, und gebenedeit ist die Frucht deines Leibes, Jesus. Heilige Maria, Mutter Gottes, bitte für uns Sünder, jetzt in der Stunde unseres Todes. Amen. Seist du, Maria, voll der Gnade, der Herr ist in dir. Du bist gebenedeit unter den Frauen.
Friendly, open-minded, and interested in a wide variety of things. That's a good way to characterize the population. If the condition of a man's house says a lot about his character, then these houses with vibrant fronts overflowing with flowers speak for all who live within. Anyone who was once there will remember the equally friendly and well-kept Kurgarten. No wonder that the concerts of the local band are a favorite meeting place for all visitors. If for once the weather should get bad, concerts can also take place here in the new convention center, with its versatile halls and rooms for meetings, conventions, theater, and concerts. Over Over the years, weather observations have shown that in Oberammergau, you can usually stay outside for games and sports. The 840-meter-high town is surrounded on three sides by the protective mountains, so that cold, stormy winds cannot reach the bottom of the valley. That's why there are more moderate temperatures and less precipitation than in other towns on the northern edge of the Alps. So tennis players, too, make the most of the relatively ample sunshine, as well as campers, who especially enjoy the glorious scenery at close hand. Swimmers are also happy, of course, that the number of sunny days in Oberammergau can hardly be equaled by any other mountain village. They make the most of this facility, which we want to show you in detail because it is really unique. It's called the Wellenberg, or Mountain of Waves. One major feature of this largest bathing facility in the Alps is the swimming hall. The water in the 25-meter pool has a temperature of 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Through a narrow channel, the big indoor pool is connected with the open-air pool. Outside, there are so many things to do, to play, or to relax before you head for the second outstanding attraction of this water paradise, from which it gets the name Mountain of Waves. It's the world's first round swimming pool with a wave simulator and has a diameter of 45 meters. From the peaks of the waves, you can see the peaks of the Alps. Incidentally, the Oberammergau Swimming Hall has an interesting tradition. The very first public swimming pool here opened in 1908. From the profits of the Passion Plays between 1934 and 1936, commemorating the 300th anniversary of the deliverance from the plague, the pool was enlarged to 4,500 square meters of water. In the 70s, this facility was expanded to become a modern sport and leisure center. It is actually a versatile leisure landscape, which can be used in the winter, too. The open-air pool, with a water temperature of 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit, is open year-round. This is the Ammer River, which gives its name to the town and the surrounding mountains. The Ammer Valley is the only opening from the weather-protected Oberammergau Valley Basin. The bubbling water intensifies the pleasant breeze, which is a typical feature of Ammer Valley weather. Doctors advise their patients to spend time in Oberammergau's high-altitude climate, which offers reduced atmospheric pressure, increased solar radiation, and unusually pure air. Whoever plans a therapeutic vacation here, coupled with reasonable activity and relaxing leisure hobbies, can be sure that the body will take full advantage of the climate. It can build up its natural resistance to those common illnesses of modern society which threaten us all. The Ammer Valley, an ideal location for your leisure time, whether you're paddling, fishing, hiking, or cycling. possibilities for peaceful relaxation. For example, here at the idyllic restaurant Etaler Mühle, a 45-minute walk from Oberammergau. Now, let's visit a forest party being held by the Oberammergau Folk Costume Association. This offers a fine opportunity to examine up close the folk costumes of the Werdenfels district. First, here with the dancing young men. They're wearing short lederhosen made of chamois or stag leather, a white shirt, and embroidered suspenders, a green velvet hat with eagle down, white calf-length stockings, and black Oxford shoes. This is the famous Schuhplattler, probably the most popular folk dance in the Alpine region, which visitors especially enjoy watching. Of course, the costumes of the young women are even more decorative. Colorful skirts, white blouses over which is worn a mida, or tight vest, with a schnurl, or silver chain, carrying various charms and trinkets. This forest party is a favorite meeting place for both strangers and local residents, for young and old. Yes, and many of these young people are already carrying on the tradition of folk dancing.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed seeing the seasons there in Oberammergau. And we have a beautiful color brochure that I would like to send you, which is going to tell you all about the itinerary on the trip that we will take in May. So if you would like to have a copy of one of these, please drop us a line or give us a call here at the station. I would drop a line, if you will, and you can address that to the Adventures Travel Club, 1550 North Fresno Street, Fresno 93703. Or you can give us a call at 488-7443. And we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the particular trip that we are going to take, or just simply request the color brochure. But we ask that you do this right away because we will have to make reservations and have your deposit by the end of August. That's all the time that we have for this edition of the Travel Club. Hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for being with us.